point B, they really want to take control of that high ground with like a 76 Widowmaker set up. That hydration potentially playing, you know, whether it's right here, it looks like we see Junkrat on the defensive end or maybe Genji on the offensive side of things.
So it's good to see Bunny back in the lineup for Seoul. He had I believe he had some of the best Tracer stats from the preseason from the entire league. He played very, very well. And like I said earlier on in that preseason, he's the kind of player described to us by the Seoul's coaches as being someone who likes to play a little bit more away from the team. He's more than happy to be out there on his own, just trying to create opportunities, create space for the rest of his team.
Looks like Seoul on offense. This looks like what they probably will go with. You know, Fleta on that Widowmaker. Okay, they say that we see some changes. Maybe we see this stick, maybe not. Obviously, still some time switching things up. The Gladiators on offense could even catch them off guard, potentially running a quad tank, right? You could have Hydration play to the Roadhog. Surefour could play something like a Zarya. So
they're still deciding. I mean, it would have been nice to see the Sombra. It worked really well for Raucus and the Outlaws when they used that strat on the attacking side of this map, but no, it won't be the case here. In my opinion, perhaps a little bit more of a standard composition now with that Widowmaker thrown in the mix. Jaehong and Zenyatta. But they'll need to be aware. Hydration is a hunting on that Junkrat, and Surefour's playing 76, which for me is really interesting because he's kind of a jack of all trades in this position, but doesn't do anything amazingly well. He's going to be there to provide damage. Fishy goes deep. Does he miss the ledge or does he intend to drop off? It's hard to say because he's just going to get desuited very deep in enemy territory here.
yeah, they're going to lose both tanks at the beginning. Those the Los Angeles Gladiators. Fleta taking out Remix, and then Bishu, which goes in a little bit too deep. Surefour is able to take out Bunny, but damage may already been done. You don't have any tanks to kind of come in here and, you know, take up some space on the point for the LA Gladiators.
Something's gone wrong there, there's no doubt about it. This is not intended from the Gladiators. Perhaps their dive just got too segmented. Maybe Bishu was supposed to get on that ledge to join Remix and they got split up. But now it's going to be Seoul taking the point pretty much straight away, and they might be able to jump on top of the Gladiators immediately. They stagger them out. They might be able to get an easy second point take. Surefour still a couple seconds from respawning.
Yeah, it looked like there may have been a miscommunication whether they were going to actually contest that point, because Remix is actually walking towards it. Just as Seoul Dynasty is able to take it, it'll be Toby getting Valkyrie here. Fleta takes out Surefour, who switches over to the Genji. Things may be falling apart for the Gladiators.
So we're looking for more now. Remix already going down, and you can see the Bishu's just trying to stay alive, but he gets desuited yet again. It's going to be all Seoul up on the point. Gladiators, where have you gone? The start of this match has been so strange. An instant res on Kuki after the Riptide finds his mark, nullifying the effect of the Junkrat ultimate. And Fleta sitting in the back corner to pick people out. The Gladiators have hardly got to play Overwatch in this map. Man, I'll be honest with you, self-destructive, and no one was even there to see all the explosions and fireworks. It's going to be Bishu again desuited, and that is going to be it. That is not good.
that would be, yeah. I mean, if you were to roll some footage and say this is the definition of not good, that would be the footage.
I mean, and again, and conversely, it was excellent from Seoul.
Yeah.
What they do early on, they notice they're getting these early picks, right? Bishu and Remix aren't quite together on the same page. They get split off, they both go down. It's almost done by that point. You're almost certainly going to get the point. Obviously, the Gladiators are trying to claw themselves back by contesting for that first point, but in doing so, they mean they're staggered out for the second, and it did happen that way. They gave so much space. The fact that Seoul can walk onto point B because everyone from the Gladiators has been respawning that's devastating. It's going to hit you hard. They've got to bounce back from this.
Yeah, it looks like the LA Gladiators definitely got rattled by that one. As soon as Fleta basically kills Remix at the same time they get Bijou, so you lose both tanks right away. And then you're forced to back out of the point. It looked like they were going to give it up, but it looked like there was a point where Remix was really close. He was going to go right back in. They get him weak, they actually kill Surefour, so you lose all kind of consistent damage coming out towards Seoul Dynasty. As soon as they see that, they just make a beeline right for point B. They're able to take it. 6 minutes and 13 seconds left in their time bank.
And again, I want to see maybe on the desk or at some point a replay of that first attempt at a defensive dive from the Gladiators, because I love the no respect. I love that we're still seeing that, but again, it's a super risky play on this particular map to give up that safe zone, to go for a fight like that, and if it falls flat on its face, you give away the first point.
What we look like, from the Gladiators right now is kind of what I was alluding to. With Surefour in the game, he can play very good Zarya. Maybe you see Bijou go back to Diva, and this is kind of what you tried out there. Really, tank-heavy comp, a lot of HP. You get that Moira coalescence rather quickly here. You get the speed boost, you get right onto the point, take it. So you're going to see the quad tank lineup here come out of the Gladiators. See if they can make it work.
Heavy set lineup for the Gladiators, and that's me being polite about it. There are some big bodies moving forward right now. A lot of HP. They're going to pressure way forward. That Reinhardt shield's going to have to absorb a lot of this damage, and I like this look. moving underneath that platform, cut the sight lines off from Seoul, and they made their way on towards the point, essentially unscathed, Matt.
But what do they do from here? Kind of back into the corner. Now essentially it's kind of like Seoul playing from the offensive side, right? They have to go from the high ground back towards the point. Fleta gets a big kill on Shaz. That's going to eliminate a lot of the area healing coming out from the Gladiators.
The patience on this man, Fleta, waiting for the moment that Remix didn't have his shield in front of Shaz and he went down instantly. The Gladiators are trying to tailor the battlefield situation to best benefit the Moira. Get to the point, fight the enemy team on there and allow Moira to let her biotic orbs go. Problem was is that Shaz was undefended. And this happens not only on this map, but also on Junkertown. For even a split second, if Shaz is not being protected, someone like Fleta has picked him off consistently. It's so consistent that it's robotic.
And because Zumba's on the D.Va, you're not going to be able to get a lot of damage down with Moira with their arms, so you're pretty much going to have to use those exclusively for healing. You see a nice pulse bomb here from Bunny, lands onto Big Goose, then you get the D-Mech there onto Bishu. So it'll be the same composition that comes out from the Gladiators. No changes coming out of the spawn. You're getting very close to a coalescence.
Huki being brought in. They're able to use the Fortify to stave off most of the damage. He's going to be healed back to full there. It's going to be a Coalescence coming in. Jaehong is forced to go here for the Transcendence just to cover up some of this damage. No anti-heal available for the Gladiators, so it's a decent play right now. But the Earthshatter comes in. Jaehong's knocked on his rear end. He's actually able to avoid the charge in. Knocked away. It's going to be the whole hog to get him on out. Hydration just doesn't want to deal with him right now, but he's going to eventually have to face it use because Jaehong comes back in. So far, so good. Fleta drops to Shawfall. Remix on the point there, swinging that hammer, and it looks like Zumba's going to get caught up in it. I like the play here from the Gladiators, man. It's worked well.
Definitely working here. You can see the Gladiators, they pick up that final kill. They will take point A. So now
what was different about this
make
push?
Changes. Well, you know, they work around that right-hand side, and they're able to land that big Earthshatter right after the Transcendence. The Coalescence forces out Transcendence in a way, just a lot of healing slash damage coming out of Coalescence. Jaehong uses it to keep everybody up. Then actually, you know, because Orissa's barriers are pretty, you know, stable, they're not able to move, kind of like Reinhardt's, they're able to land a big Earthshatter.
This is interesting. It was a low ground push for the Gladiators to make their way in. Zumba's getting a little bit low in damage here. Fleta tried to switch over towards this Reaper to deal with all the tanks, goes down, hydration, but is brought back. Now he's back in the fray, getting healing for all the damage he does. The Hellfire shotgun's going one after another. And Hydration looks for a hook, doesn't connect it. I think he really needed to hit that one as Fleta takes down Remix, and one by one, these big, bulky tanks from the Gladiators are probably going to be cut down to size by the damage output from Seoul. And it comes to pass in just that way. Hold here for Dynasty.
A lot of ultimates coming online for the Gladiators, though. Self-destruct, Earthshatter, Whole Hog, Graviton Surge, and Coalescence coming into this next fight. Seoul Dynasty, you'll have your Transcendence, you'll have a Self-Destruct Primal Rage. I think it's really on Surefour to land a big grab coming into this next one.
Definitely arguably bigger ults on the side of the Gladiators here. I mean, a Graviton into Whole Hog without a defense matrix in play is devastating, because the only reason people don't get nuked by Whole Hog is because they get knocked away by it, but in a grab you can't. You're taking a face full, and it's full damage. The scrap gun obviously will be churning in your face.
But you see how spread out Seoul Dynasty's playing here. They know that that Graviton's in play. It's going to be a Pulse Bomb from Bunny that connects onto Remix, followed up by a Death Blossom. That's going to be 3 kills for Fleta.
That's nasty.
That was sick.
Straight in the middle of all these
Or
tanks.
Bishu.
And bear in mind as well, the more targets you're connecting with that Death Blossom, the more health you're getting back.
Run, Bishu.
Yeah. Bishu loves communicating with his team. I don't know what to be saying to them.
Guys, I'm running back. Okay,
just letting you know, guys, they're stalling me. Just letting you go. I'm running. Fleta gets in a really nice position here. This is straight off spawn. The Gladiators maybe weren't even set up to sort of receive players spawning back in. They were still dealing with the rest of Seoul on the point. High ground time perhaps now, Matt.
Well, I mean, that fight win for Seoul Dynasty also allows them to build up Valkyrie. So you have Valkyrie coming into this next fight plus Transcendence. So it's a big fight win there.
They've got nothing to deal with Fleta right now. It needs to be a hook. Oh, sorry, a charge or something. Fleta goes in, looking for the backline. A couple shots in towards the Moira, but it was shielded out by Surefour, who still has that Graviton, mind you. Coalescence now. Fleta's trying to find his next target. He's going to settle for the big, bulky hydration. He goes down. He bursts so fast. The Hellfire shotguns are so nasty up close, and Fleta is put down. Judgment finally delivered to the Edgelord Reaper, but the fight still continues. It's Remix and Vishy falling down. Kuki dropped for a moment, but is brought back to life. Surefour down to Bunny, and Seoul are looking so good right now. Look at all the ultimates that got drawn out of the Gladiators, and they just swat them aside.
And you have to imagine that, you know, you use some of those ultimates. Yep, Surefour's going to switch. So you ended up using the grab because Seoul Dynasty, they're so spread out. You didn't want to waste any more time holding on to this grab for the perfect opportunity for the Gladiators. You end up using it, I believe it only connects with Kuki inside of it. And then Toby plays so far away. It was just great positioning from Seoul Dynasty that they're able to use that Valkyrie, come back in, get a res. Jaehong here, still with Transcendent. So now
big switches.
Yeah, Shaz will go over and play Ana. You'll have Hydration played Roadhog. You're still going to go with triple tank, but you're going to have Big Goose go over to Mercy here. So no, you're going to have both support switch up in Surefour here.
It's tough. They're not really able to capitalize on the sleeping Winston. They don't sort of dive in. The rest of Seoul are smart enough knowing the Winston is slept to not commit fully to the fight without the initiation tank either. So despite Shaz hitting what is a very hard shot to make up there on the pylon, they can't make any use of it here.
Yeah, Fleta just hiding up top here.
This comp screams high ground from Gladiators.
I mean, that's the only play they really have with the red. I mean, you get up top, you can use maybe you're playing for like a nano visor
they
here.
Have to split in two to get the most out of this composition, though, because Hydration can't exactly just jump up and down as he pleases.
Yeah, I mean, what do? You kind of have like these big beefy tanks roll through the high ground, and then you kind of have to play Hydration on the point, right, to create some kind of action there so Surefour can get space. But you see Remix dive by, and it seems like Seoul Dynasty doesn't really care. They're going to go all the way for that back line.
Flipped! Nicely done. Good response from Shaz to shut down Fleta. He has himself a nano boost right now. It might be time for the visor, but they still need to deal with Zunba and Kuki. Zunba's still helping now. The Transcendent's going to come out on the point. Hydration has already dropped down. Goose has gone straight in now with the Valkyrie to bring Hydration back, but our Bishu gets desuited and taken down. This is surely going to have to force another res out. This fight hasn't happened as quickly as the Gladiators would like, but now the tactical visor from Surefour from high grants them one kill, instantly rezzed.
Yeah, they did use the nano visor there, so Surefour gets pushed down a little bit up top. It looks like they thought they had the position. Maybe they thought they were going to get Zumba deep mech'd, and they used that tac visor plus the nano boost. They're not able to make any way on the point.
My issue with the attack visor here is, I get it, right? There's so much damage available, but there's so much shielding, a defense matrix and everything just to prevent 76 from getting good damage done. Even if he's on the high ground, you pretty much need to be guaranteed that Kuki's either out of position or dead, that Zunba is at least out of his mech to get a valuable nano visor. Otherwise, you're committing two ultimates into shooting at shields and defense matrices.
And it's hard when Fleta comes in on the Reaper because you don't really, I mean, I guess you have Big Goose with the Valkyrie, right? A great sustain ultimate, but I mean, you have Shaz who potentially, I mean, he's got to hit a sleep dart every time or else Fleta's going to cause a lot of problems. Bunny there, open things up. The nice pulse bomb takes out Shaz.
Gotta get wrecked though. Last chance saloon here for the Gladiators, Matt. Despite the fact that having the res was good, they've lost Hydration now to Fleta, and they've got to go with just these players. Kuki's down though, so it's a 5v5. Transcendence from Jaehong, but he has to use it so far away that his team doesn't really benefit from this at all. Bunny to drop. This might be the opening that the Gladiators were looking for. Jaehong just dodging around the pole, and now it's going to be the primal rage. And yes, Bishu gets in there and gets the extra damage done. He found two in the last moment. This is going to force Toby to come out with that resurrect. He's low. He's swatted aside. Surefour finally has the pole position, the perch play that he was looking for. Zumba's forced to run up there with half health. He's just a bit of a drive-by though, as Hydration now brings in the Doomfist. Rock'em Sock'em Arena it's going to be, and the Gladiators finally have a little bit of control. We're in overtime, Matt, but we're going to get there. Surely it's going to be an ice block here for Jaehong as he tries to get himself onto the point, but he's knocked away straight away. Uppercut, bit of Shoryuken action from Hydration, and the Gladiators are looking real close.
Yeah, Kuki though pops his primal rage. He's going to be able to stall us out for a little bit. Fleta with that Death Blossom. See if he can make anything happen with that Reaper ultimate. Uses it, dies immediately.
Now it's going to be a rocket punch for Hydration. Who's he looking for? Zunba goes down, a double for Zunba on the point though. I don't think that's going to be enough though. Jaehong switches to 76 to get to the point. Bit of mobility, some healing perhaps. Hydration was rezzed back up by Big Goose, and Big Goose gets the kill on Jaehong. Oh, they got it done, Matt. But they're probably as breathless as I am right now, and they're up against it. They took everything they had to get that second point. Time, effort, ultimates, sanity, you name it, they spent it.
And for a second there, I thought it was going to turn the other way. When Zumba got the double with the self-destruct, I was like, oh no, everything is going to fall apart here for the Gladiators. But Hydration brings out Doomfist, and it's actually just kind of like a late game play to probably get back to the point, but he actually was making a big impact, and just do so much burst damage with the rocket punch. And when you're kind of calming out of the spawn and stalling, there's a lot of walls there. That big one wall in the back, you're able to just knock players into, get a lot of one-shots.
We know how scary Doomfist is as a duelist or as a hero when he's not facing scrutiny from multiple enemies, and when you're inherently going to be playing in a man advantage in like an ultimately successful stall situation. And because he can burst people down, right, you can always keep your team, in the black or, in the positive man advantage situation by jumping in there and getting quick picks. So that was good to see. The Gladiators now It is
This is gonna
a
be very
gargantuan task ahead of them. They need to hold this first point and give Seoul no more than 1/3 for 6 minutes and 13 seconds.
This would be incredible if they're able to do it. Maybe they can take some of those positive vibes after their light push there on offense, bring them in here on D, because they're probably going to need it. As you see, they're going to run a different composition here. They'll have Hydration play Genji, Surefour will play the Tracer. You're going to have Fleta play Sombra here, and you're going to have almost kind of like a triple support in a way. As Sombra, you can kind of play her as a damage dealer, kind of as a support. They're going to hack that Mega Health Pack, keep going back towards it, farming it up, get an EMP, use the speed boost, go on through.
This is a bit of a shock and awe comp from Seoul. They want to be able to set up a base of operations around that hack health pack and then push very quickly, explode on towards the point and find these early kills now. And the Gladiators, Vishu finds Kuki here. You can see that Bunny and Jaehong are looking for a way in. They're trying to pinch on towards this point. And there's not much the Gladiators can do about it. If they want to play an aggressive defense again, well, we saw how that worked last time. It's risky. You don't have a margin of error right now, Matt, as the Gladiators to go for that cavalier kind of play.
Look at this push coming in from the Gladiators. So they know that Jaehong and Bunny are working on that side of the map. Instead of just kind of pushing straight on through that little health pack area, they go all the way around the outside. But here, going into the anti-gravity
In space.
part of the map. Usually you don't see too much action over here, but why not?
Gladiators just wanted some peace and quiet to think for a moment. Okay, he's going to drop onto the point. Will this be the EMP, though? He's probably more looking for Shadow. Oh dear, this could be nasty. Big Goose was so close to the Valkyrie. That's what the Gladiators needed to keep some fuel in the tank. However, Shaz picks off Bunny at range. The EMP, no, Shaz is not long for this world. All of his shield is taken away, and the kills are starting to cascade through. It's like a tiger avalanche, but no, the Gladiators are standing up despite the deluge of damage. Zumba's going to get desuited despite him getting healed. He's knocked out of the suit. Now forced to go it alone with the Bunny Blaster, who just wants to get it over with. He just wants to respawn. And the Gladiators hold, again, these guys, when push comes to shove, they are digging those heals in.
The Gladiators will have both of their support ults. They'll have a Dragon Blade self-destruct online. Did use the EMP there for Seoul Dynasty, but you're going to have Coalescence. You're going to get very close to Sound Barrier here. So you'll have two very good sustain ultimates to extend the fight on the point. I think the question is whether we see Fleta make a change off of the Sombra or not.
Gladiators extending now as well. This is looking reminiscent of what happened earlier on, but Toby gets picked off this time. So the Gladiators going for a similar brand of aggression, but it's paying off. The execution seems to be there. Self-destruct there. Remix is going to find Bunny. So again, slow going for Seoul Dynasty here. Jaehong trying to get a little bit of extra biotic grasp charge, but he's going to be forced back here. Tough to heal through this kind of damage. Yeah, he's down. Hydration fell though. There might be an opening.
I think if you're the Los Angeles Gladiators, you know that there's not like a ton of damage on the other side, right? I mean, Tracer really your only true DPS hero. Fleta playing the Sombra can do a lot of DPS close range, but you're really using her to hack the health packs, farm EMP, take everybody's abilities offline on the other end, so you can play a little bit more aggressive.
I wonder how far we're going to take this shields up motto. The Gladiators. So far they've managed to sort of take all the damage they're receiving and send it back tenfold. Toby gets cut down by Bishop. This dive is looking really good. Desperation perhaps fueling the Gladiators' attempts to try and knock Seoul off their perches and off balance. But Hydration has a Dragon Blade. He wants to wait, should probably wait until his Primal Rage is done before he can try and go for value for it. And now he's going to drop down. Who's he looking for again? Tough to get through the Coalescence. It's very tricky to try and pick Jaehong off, who just disappears. 1 second he's there, another he's not.
It's going to be Sound Barrier coming in from Seoul, Transcendence from the Los Angeles Gladiators. You're going to get Jaehong out of the equation. The self-destruct comes down from Bishu onto the point. And remind you, Seoul only has to get that one golden tick to take this map. As you see the EMP come down, now the kill's starting to go in favor of Seoul Dynasty.
Surefour finds Kuki, though. There is still life in these old bones yet, as Reinhardt would have said. Hydration plants his feet. Zumba coming forward, trying to find something. A lot of low health targets. He goes for a self-destruct on the point. He's found Bishu with the Bunny Blaster, if I'm not mistaken, in mid-air, no less. Toby cuts down Hydration, though, and the Gladiators, that staunch defense that they put forward, it was stalwart, but ultimately, it was insufficient.
I tell you what, Seoul Dynasty wins the map. That's a great defense there from the Los Angeles Gladiators. Their defense, when Seoul is on offense first. Let's not really talk about that. It wasn't really there, but the defense in that overtime round was huge. I mean, the clock was at like 6 minutes and 30 seconds. I believe we end the game with about 2 minutes and 15 seconds or so left on the clock. So the LA Gladiators did a very nice job on the defensive end, but still, Seoul Dynasty takes the map.
It's frustrating. We saw what they were capable of.